So I've been using a M3 iPad Air, if it will turn on, as a replacement to my M2 MacBook Air. So here's what I think of it: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now my first good is software is a lot more well optimized on iPad. For example, on Netflix you can download all the TV shows you want to watch offline on a plane, for example, on a long road trip journey, which unfortunately for piracy reasons you cannot download TV shows on Netflix on the web version. Netflix also isn't the only most well optimized app. It's also TikTok. If you're a TikTok addict, it's lovely to watch on an iPad screen, especially because all the landscape videos can be played full screen really easily, and they're played automatically full screen by default. And I've not found the 9:16 aspect ratio videos annoying at all. And if you don't know what I mean by that, I mean this. Now the only reason I actually kept my MacBook was for Final Cut Pro and Pixelmator. However, there's Pixelmator on iPad and there's also a Final Cut Pro version, which I'll show later. Pixelmator, I don't do professional photo editing on here. All I need is just something stupid to doodle on. Maybe, I don't know, design a birthday cake, edit a photo, maybe remove a person, or make a YouTube thumbnail. I don't do advanced photo editing, so the iPad version of Pixelmator has been completely fine for me. And it's also been a joy to use it with my finger. Final Cut Pro, on the other hand, has been easier to use than the MacBook version, as this app has been designed by Apple from the ground up. It's been optimized entirely for iPad to control with your finger. It's got many little quirky features that the MacBook version doesn't have, like this playhead, which you can control with your finger to get the smallest accurate milliseconds. There are some missing features of the Pixelmator app and the Final Cut Pro app on iPad, so if you're a professional photo or video editor, editing on iPad may not be for you, but for someone like me who only does basic to light video editing, or just thumbnail making on Pixelmator or doodling around, the iPad is perfect. On to the second good, the versatility of an iPad is so much better than a MacBook. Let me give you a few examples. I can enjoy watching videos on my lap, really comfortably, maybe sitting at the edge of my bed like I'm over here. Oh yeah, another versatility point is I can use my iPad at a desk by connecting a keyboard up to the USB-C port on the side. However, on a MacBook, it's quite uncomfortable. It's slipping off and I have to hold it up, keep on constantly adjusting it, move my finger and hand around here. I can't use it with one hand. A big versatility point is the iPad both supports an Apple Pencil or stylus, and you can control it with your finger. And if you're rich enough or want to waste money, you can buy the Apple Magic Keyboard and use it like a literal laptop. Personally, if I'm writing any essays in school, I just bring a Bluetooth keyboard and I just connect that across. I personally never really preferred the keyboard experience. I prefer this case a lot more, as it's really versatile and just works really well. The third good is the iPad is a lot more smaller and lighter as a standalone device, versus while carrying a MacBook all the time, your hand may get tired really easily, and you also look really stupid carrying this around in a queue or something. The iPad is also a lot more smaller, which also means you can fit it in a slinger, versus for a MacBook you need a whole ass backpack like you see over here. Okay, now move on to the bad parts. The bad things are really not that bad, because I'm still using this thing as a laptop and a tablet, 2-in-1 device, 2 months later. Okay, I know I'm going to be a hypocrite here, and I know I said my first good was how optimized iPad OS is, but it's not optimized for every single little task. For example, writing my CV on here was a bit of a struggle, as the text is really small. It's a bit zoomed in right now, so I don't leak all my details, but when I make a mistake, I have to pick somewhere that's really awkward, and it's usually 1 or 2 lines above, and I have to awkwardly use the arrow keys to correct my mistake on a different column, and it's super weird. The second bad is iPadOS 26's window management still needs quite a bit of work. As I'm writing this script over here, and I want to make a space for a ChatGPT window, for example, I have windowed apps turned on, as you can see, but when I grab the little corner, it makes both sides of the window smaller. I hate this feature so much. It's really stupid, and if I ever want to make space for a ChatGPT window, I have to awkwardly drag the window here, which only worked the first time there, but usually it doesn't work like that. It's really awkward. I definitely think it needs some work. And this isn't me complaining that iPadOS has got bad window management. I think it's a huge step in the right direction that Apple has actually listened to their community and what iPad fans want for iPad OS to make it a better device, but I think they could have done it just a tiny bit better. Now my third bad is that iPads don't have enough storage. Currently, every single iPad that Apple currently sells comes with 128GB of storage minimum. However, the MacBooks come with 256GB of storage. Currently on my iPad, I'm only sitting at 83GB of storage used, so I'm not necessarily run out of any storage, but there's many workarounds I've done to get this. And the way I did this was by optimizing the iPad storage and keeping all my iCloud photos in the cloud. What this does is basically every time you want to view a photo, it just does a quick little download of that photo every single time you want to view it, and after that automatically just deletes it. But this cloud photos feature works really poorly, as every single time it downloads the photo, which for a photo it's fine, but for a video, especially a ProRes video when it's 5 to 6GB, it cannot download that within 1 second, so the video plays at really low quality. And sure, you're not going to be viewing ProRes videos every single day, but it's just one stupid thing that if Apple gave me 256GB of storage minimum, I would have had no issues and I could have kept all my photos and videos, ProRes videos, everything on my iPad. Now moving on to the dirty, and the only dirty point is battery life on my iPad is terrible. Here's my today's battery life. So today 10 to 4 hours in school, and I only have had about 5 hours and 30 minutes of screen on time and used more than 50% of my battery. The worst part is Apple does this on purpose because they don't want to phase out the MacBooks and make these things pointless. Because unlike the MacBooks, iPad compared to the MacBooks are a lot more thinner and lightweight, which makes it a lot easier to carry. The worst part is Apple throttles the iPads on purpose. For example, here's the inside of a 13-inch M3 iPad Air. Look how much space there is. Apple could have easily put in another 4 more hours of screen on time worth of battery in that iPad, but no, they chose to not. So after going through all the good and the bad, will I fully be replacing my MacBook with an iPad and fully resetting my MacBook? The answer is yes. iPad's a lot more versatile. It can be a tablet, it can be a laptop, it's lightweight, and I can carry it in a slinger to college. It's like a huge iPhone, runs all the iOS apps perfectly like TikTok and Netflix. And the only reason I use my MacBook was for watching TV shows, which I can do on here, and obviously Final Cut Pro and Pixelmator, which I can also use on here.